Maseches Bava Kama Daf Mem Tes Amud Aleph. Middle of the page, where the line we are in is Rove Omar. Rove explains the brisa previously seen. Yeah. Okay. I would actually start from Tanya Nami Hachi. Tanya Nami Hachi is 2 lines above that. It's like 2 lines below the 2 dots. Tanya Nami Hachi. The line starts with the word Laba'al, and then Tanya Nami Hachi. This year's Lerefua Sachoyle Lionel Ben Yulia Oria. Tanya Nami Hachi. What did we say in the previous part of the Amud? We said that when a woman, Lo Aleinu, is being kicked by or harmed otherwise by a person, by a man, and that man actually managed to abort her babies, the babies came out. So there are a few payments that we're dealing with. Number one is the vlodos. The vlodos are the actual babies. The babies themselves, the unborn babies, they are worth money. Yeah, in theory, if somebody would have bought them and only them, yeah, then they would be worth money. Yeah, in the market of avodim, in the work market, in the workforce, so they're worth money. Then there is another item, another part, another segment of the payment called shvach vlodos. What's shvach vlodos? The fact that a woman who's pregnant, she is actually worth more. I wouldn't say regardless of, because she is pregnant, she as a worker, as a shifcha, would be worth more according to Tanakama. Okay, right? Because she looks fatter and she looks stronger and she looks more menupahat. She has more volume. That's number two. Who gets the vlodos? The actual babies themselves. The value of the vlodos. Who gets that? The heilige that the biological father, regardless whether he's married to her or not, maybe divorced, maybe they're teenagers, whatever. Yeah, but that could be. That was it was a fight in the pub. Wait a second. We're not talking about Shifcha Knanis now. We're talking now about a regular married or some woman. So the father gets the vlodos. Okay. Now, what happens about with the shvach? The shvach is a machloikes between Chachamim and Rashbag. Chachamim say that the shvach is something that they share. In other words, the shvach is something that they, the mother and the father, no, that's not true. We'll see later that Chachamim hold that the father gets the shvach also. We didn't get there yet. Abshim Gamliel, so far, Rashbag said that there is no shvach. He says, no, a lady after pregnancy is actually worth more than before pregnancy, because before pregnancy, she's at risk. Who knows whether she'll survive the birth or not? She didn't yet say hago male, but the one after birth is dafka worth more. So it is kilu, a koifer, and the whole idea of shvach vlodos. And the third thing that goes to her is nezek, tsar, ripui, sheves, boishes. In other words, nezek, the fact that even if she wouldn't be pregnant, yeah, a kick in the stomach is not something exactly so nice to anybody in the world, whether they're pregnant or not, you know, unless it's some new diet kind of thing, you know, maybe you kick someone in the stomach and miraculously the beer belly goes flat. That would be interesting, but I never tried that one yet. So I don't know. I don't think that works. So not tried at home. So then the nezek goes to the woman. The Gemara Ksuba says that the husband also gets parts of the nezek because mashakot tishakona baila. Let's see the brayse. Tani nami hachi. Does the woman, is the woman worth, by the way, Shifcha we'll talk about later, Rav Simkin. Is that so that a woman is worth more before birth than after birth? That's not true. A woman is worth more afterwards than before. After, you know, these pictures before and after is better than before. Why? Because she's not at risk anymore. This brisa followed very, very well. Who? It followed Abshim Gamliel. He doesn't believe, seemingly, in the concept of shvach vlodos. He doesn't believe that a woman is worth more while she's pregnant because it's a risk factor. And therefore, the only payment that there is, besides nezek, which nobody discusses right now, the only payment around, the only game in town is vlodos. The actual babies themselves, they have their own self-value, and this is something that goes to the Baal, to the husband / father. Rove Omar, now we're starting today's shir. Rove says that's really what the brisa means. וכאישה למי שיולדת משבחס, then the atzma b'shvach vlodois klum. The woman who is mashbiach, the woman herself who does have shevach. In other words, when she is pregnant, she is worth more. Won't we say that she gets the shvach herself? Isn't that something in her own body? Mele the vlodois exersakosuv, they go to the father, not the mother. Exersakosuv. When it comes to the shvach itself, won't we say that the woman should also have at least part of the shvach vlodois because it's her body? And really, logically speaking, it's a partnership. It's her body and also the babies. Why is she fatter? Because the vlodos make her look fatter, and usually a pregnant woman really weighs more. Yeah, besides, it's not just the weight of the baby. Usually there is more weight besides that, and it's her body. She herself is worth more. Just like you understand the nezek goes to her, so to the shvach should also go to her, or partially to her. It's a combination of the father, the mother, the baby, everybody. Ella. Therefore, what do we say? That's how he interprets the brisa we just read. Shomenes of vlodos v'noistin labal. The vlodos go to the husband because that's what the Torah says. Ushvach vlodos cholkin. The shvach vlodos they share, they divide. The shvach vlodos meaning her value of being worth more while she's pregnant, she is worth more. That's how it's like chachamim. They share, they split. That criminal who kicked her in the stomach, so he made her worth less as a pregnant woman. She's not pregnant anymore. Who gets, I don't know, the 2,000 shekels, I don't know how much, 1,000 to the husband, 1,000 to the wife. Tanya Namiyachi, and look at the brisa that supports that. Here's a brisa to support that. Amar B'Shimon ben Gamliel, says B'Shimon Gamliel, listen to this, listen carefully and get the question. I expect you all to raise your eyebrows now, soon. Amar B'Shimon Gamliel, V'chiisha l'mishi yoledis mashbachas, ve'en le'atzma b'shvach lodos klum. The woman, only the one she gives birth to, which is the husband, the father, it only goes to him, and she herself doesn't get anything. Doesn't make sense that she doesn't get anything of the shvach vlodos, says Rav Shimon Gamliel. She should get the shvach of her being pregnant, being worth more. Now she's worth less. She should get part of it. Ella, therefore, what does Rav Shimon Gamliel suggest? Shomin nezek b'fnei atzmoi. The nezek, as we said before, you evaluate it by itself. The nezek of even a non-pregnant woman who got kicked in the stomach is now can work less, is less functional. She gets that, and her husband also gets part of it, but that's a different story. But tzal b'fnei atzmoi, the tzal, the pain she had, you evaluate it separately. The shomenes of vlodos v'nosin labal. The vlodos go to the husband. That's indisputable. That's man's right. That's always for him, set aside for him in the corner. The actual babies themselves, they, so to speak, belong to the husband. We'll see that later. The shvach vlodos cholkin. And the shvach vlodos, the fact that the woman is worth more while being pregnant, says Rav Shimon Gamliel that they split. Yeah, the fact between the difference between yes pregnant and no pregnant, that value, yeah, that she's worth more while she's pregnant, that they share, the husband and the wife. Says who? Says Rav Shimon Gamliel. I am very sad that you guys are happy. How could that be? Rashbag was one who said that a woman, while pregnant, is not worth more, is worth less. So why is Rashbag now telling me that the fact that she is worth more, that value that she had being pregnant, she shares with the husband? Very nice feminist idea. But Lamaisa, there is no value. Rashbag is the one who said that a pregnant woman is worth less than a non-pregnant one. So what's Rashbag talking about now? Get the right? No, but there's nothing to pay. If I made you pay more, what? No, he didn't devaluate, so there's nothing to pay. Think a bit before. I'm sorry. No, we're not philosophy class over here. There's no payment to pay if she was pregnant, being worth more being pregnant. He kicked her. Money-wise, he did her a favor. Yeah, because money-wise, she was worth more being not pregnant. So there's nothing to pay in that segment. Of course, he has to pay as a nezek, yes. Tsar, yes. Vlodos, yes. But there is no shvach according to Rashbag. There's no money to pay if I placed $1,000 in your account. There's nothing I have to compensate you for. So Rashbag, Ki'ilu, doesn't make sense. It's sorry. Excusez-moi. Okay? And says the Gemara, very good, excellent. The peanut gallery are doing great. And says the Gemara, loy kasha, lamet kuf loy kasha. Kan b'mevakeres, kan b'sheinu mevakeres. Mevakeres, like we're saying, the kinas and Tisha B'av, mevakeres is what? Is the one who is giving birth for the first time. A lady, a first time birth is much more risky than other births. In other words, the first time, it's her first traumatic experience at birth. She doesn't know what's going on. We don't know how her body is going to respond to the trauma. And therefore, the mevakeres is worth what? She's worth less when she's pregnant. After the first birth, oh, mazel tov, it's a healthy baby. But when she's not mevakeres, when it's already the second, third, or 15th birth, and that, when she's already boki verogil, she's already into the business of giving birth, then we say that she's worth more when she's pregnant. Then Rav Shimon Gamliel admits to Chachamim that when she's pregnant, she's worth more. And therefore, there is shvach to pay. When the guy kicked her in the stomach, he has to pay her the shevach because she was worth more. Because we know the Eretz Hashem, more likely that she'll be okay. And therefore, being pregnant is being worth more than afterwards. But what does he argue the Rabbanan about? So at the end of the day, what's Machlokas Rishbag and Chachamim? Two Machlokasim. Machlokas number one about Mevakeres. First time pregnancy, the woman's first pregnancy. According to Rashbag, there is no shvach vlodos. There's dmei vlodos, not shvach vlodos. Yeah, is not worth more. That's number one. The Chachamim say yes. Secondly, even from the second birth onwards, all the way to a 25th birth, all the way Mevakeres and Mevakeres. According to Rashbag, who gets the shvach vlodos? Who gets the compensation for the fact that he kicked her and now she's worth less? Rashbag says they share, the husband and the wife, they share, or the divorcees, or the boyfriend, girlfriend, olenu, they share it. The husband gets everything. Okay. Frag the Gemara on Rabbanon. Why do Rabbanon say that the husband gets everything? Where did they take that from? Frag the Gemara of Rabbanon, the Amri Shvach, the line starts with the word Shvach, Shvach Maise. Rabbanon the Amri Shvach Vlodus Nami Labal. Rabbanan said that the shvach v'lodus also goes to the husband. What's also? Besides what? Besides dmei v'lodus. Very good. Very good. Very good. Besides the v'lodus themselves, which is called dmei v'lodus, the value of the babies, which for sure goes to the husband. The shvach v'lodus, who does that go to? The husband. How do you know? What's your source? My timer. What's the reason? Answers the Gemara Kedetanya. It says Kedetan, but really it's a Tanya. It's a brisa. Mashma shenemar. Since it says in the Torah, the Yotzu Yelodeo, the kids came out, the children, which is really the embryo, the fetus, whatever, they came out unexpectedly, early. He aborted the babies, that violent person. So it says, the Yotzu Yelodeo, the kids came out of the stomach. Last time I checked, the only time that a woman can have kids coming out of her stomach, to say it so bluntly, is when she's pregnant. So, Yotzu Yelodeo, Ein Yodea Shihoro. Don't I know that she's pregnant already? Why does the Torah have to tell me? Why does the Torah have to tell me she was pregnant and then she aborted the babies? Of course, that if she aborted, she was pregnant before. So why is the word hora, herayon, which is like an extra word, redundant word, seemingly, why is that next to the yotze yiladeo? What's the juxtaposition, as they call it in Arts? What's the business? Yeah. Lomar lecho, to tell you. Shvach herayon labal. Just like Mevlodus for sure go to the husband, and that's before outright. So to the hara, the herayon itself, the pregnancy itself, also fully goes to the husband fully. Yeah, what are you doing? You okay? That's the chachomim. Yeah, they say hara is extra to tell me the husband gets both the vlodus. That's not a question even. And he also gets the herayon itself. The difference before and after, that difference between them is what goes to the husband. According to Rashbag, what does he do with the word hora? According to him, the word hora is extra, is redundant, because I know already that she's Meharayon. So what's the story over here? Why is the Torah telling me that word? Answers the Gemara Miboile. Yes, we need this word. Like the Tanya, as we see in the Brisa, Le'olam eino chayev, the person who hit her is only chayev, is only obligated to pay, ad sheyakena keneged beis herayon. Only if he hit her, if he smacked her, hit her against face actually in the base harayon, in where the pregnancy is, like facing the womb, the womb. However, Rav Papa adds to that, doesn't have to be exactly in the womb where the baby is like lying there, in this fetal position. Doesn't have to be only then that he's chayiv. Wherever some kind of heat, interesting, from the makkah, from the blow, would directly affect the baby. Maybe not at mamish, maybe anywhere in the stomach, maybe in the hip, I don't know, maybe the chest, I'm not sure. Here, Rav Papa does say clearly, if he hit her on the leg or he hit her on the hand, and then she aborted, that is already halachically indirect enough to tell me that he doesn't have to pay her. He may have to pay her for other things, but he doesn't have to pay her for the abortion. For that unexpected abortion, for the miscarriage, he doesn't have to pay her for the miscarriage, because we view it halachically as indirect unless it's somewhere close to the harayon, and that is around the stomach area, the torso. That's where he has to pay her. And how do we know that? We know it from the word horo, from the word harayon. So again, it's two different limudim, the word horo. Rav Shimon Gamliel tells me horo means what? It's telling me that only if you hit her in the pregnancy zone, so to speak, or extended zone, that's when he has to pay her. And otherwise, if you hit her by the ear or by the hand or by the outside the torso, doesn't have to pay. Chachamim say something else. They say no. Haro comes to tell me that just like the husband gets the vlodos, as you very nicely said, the actual vlodos themselves, the value of the vlodos, so too the husband gets the difference, the shvach, the difference between before and after pregnancy, fully, completely to the father. That's what they say. Rashbag says no. Rashbag says who gets the shvach vlodos, the shvach of before and after pregnancy? Share and share alike, right? That's how you say it in nice English. Good. So they both share it because they both are partners in it. So as long as the Torah wasn't mechadish, otherwise the partners get each one gets his chiluk, gets half. Okay. Questions and comments? Continue? Not continue? Right. I think we follow the rabbis. I'm almost sure. I did not check it in the Shulchan Aruch. I think we follow Rabbanon. I'm pretty sure, but we didn't get to the end of the sugya yet. But I'll check. I didn't check. Two dots towards the end of Memtes Amud Aleph. Two dots zehut. We're going now to learn a very interesting, almost philosophical lomdisha question about the Dmei Vlodos. Now we're going to talk about a shifcha. So Rabbi Simkin, if the woman is a shifcha and was not freed, Abraham didn't come to her town in the south, she's still a shifcha, goes to the owner. Of course, the shifcha, as we said, the shifcha always, everything goes to the owner, even more than a free woman, right? Because she's like a regular, something belonging to the owner. So she, b'chol mikra, in any event, the owner gets whichever nezik that she has. He was harming his property. So what? The tsar probably, I don't know, it's a good question. That we'll discuss in Perek Shmini, a tsar of an eved. A tsar of an eved, I assume goes to the Bailim, but that's a good question. I don't know. Okay, so that's a good one. I don't know. You caught me red-handed. Yeah, you stumped me. Now, what about a shifcha that was nishtachrera? Two questions now come to mind. I'm going to philosophize with you soon about the Dmei Vlodos. We're going to have a very, very interesting Lomdish Chakira in the Gemara. Sounds like we're in Brisk now, but it's inside the Gemara. And first of all, what happens if the lady was a Shifcha Meshochreres? What happens if she and her husband were both Avodim? Finally, they were freed, okay? Or let's say they're Giyorim. What about, this is Avram and Sarah Mackenzie. Yeah. They are the children of Tim. Yeah, you know that. One of his children was Megar. You know that. Yeah. So then somebody I know, he hears me so much McKenzie. Somebody thought it's a real person. In any event, he asked me, who's Tim McKenzie? So then the question is, you tell me, what happens if Tim and not Tim, Avram and Sarah Mackenzie, that's the first child. What a tragedy. You know what happened? Now somebody kicked Sarah in the stomach, chas shalom, and the baby died. They have no other children. And then Avram died also. What happens then? What? There is no pasuk directly about this case. He said either nobody gets it, because not me, the kicker, let's call him the kicker. The kicker owes money to Avram, the ger. Avram left no children behind. A woman does not inherit her husband, only ksuba, but no inheritance. So then I would say, well, now Avram, the ger, died. Now the kicker gets to keep the money. Just like any other choiv, any other debt, you have to ger. Let's say Avram McKenzie lent money to someone, then Avram McKenzie died. Who does the person have to give money back to? Nobody. There's no claims. There are no plaintiffs. Nobody to claim the money. No claimants, because he has no relatives. His father Tim lives in Texas. He's not his father halachically. Okay, so that's basically the story. So everyone should agree. Although I like the other option. Rav Simkin will discuss it later. But at first, if the father is a ger and he's not around, if he has Yoshim, Matovu Manoim, if Avram has a 1-year-old boy, that 1-year-old boy gets the Vlodos money, right? He's a Yoresh, even, I don't know, half-a-year-old. But what happens if Avram is not around, the ger is dead, nobody gets it, because it's money owed to a ger that automatically stays, kind of Kinyan Chotzer, stays by who? By the one who owes the money. Why did he get away with murder? And thought, that's life. Okay, you okay now? We're not in North Korea yet. I'm still nice. I'm sort of.
The ger had a brother who also was.
Oh, doesn't help, as we all know. Gershon is Geyer, get Katan Chenola. The ger that was born is like Katan wool. Lo ozer klum. Me'ikar adin midoraita, not in Rabbanan. If Avram McKenzie was Megayer and his sister Rainbow was also Megayer, so now they can marry each other. Me'ikar adin. It's not called incest because they're born from thin air, from Avram Avinu. They're not born kilu. I mean, the Rabbanon it's also because it's nicht kashen zach, but past nicht. In Brooklyn they're not going to look at it nicely. So or in Bnei Brak. But no, I'm joking. Really, halachically, it's not. But in Mikra, they can Gershon is got to cut and shenoila for many things, not for everything. What are you asking? Yeah. Or clearly, Vlodos is not a knas. How do I know? Because we said that we evaluate the value of the Vlodos. Yeah, in other words, how good the Vlodos seem to be in ultrasound, what month they're holding by, because had it been knas, it would be a set payment. Give me quickly an example for set payment, which you all know. No, quick. Shloishim Shaleved. We just saw that. Whether the Eved is worth $2 million or worth 1,000 shekels, you always pay him Shloshim shekels. Shloshim shekels is not so little, yeah? But it's not a set payment here, so it's not knas. But you're onto something. There is a chakira here, it's a bit deeper. Title, 2 dots. Amar Rabba, says Rabba as follows. So he's potu. Why is he potu? Because the father died, and that's it. And now there's nobody to pay to. Amar Rabba, lo ishonu, that is only true. Ela shechovel b'chaya ger, umeisa ger. That is only true that the kicker, that's what I'm going to call him now. Is there such a word in English? Yeah, I think. Right? The one who kicks is a kicker, right? I know there are shoes kickers. When I was a kid, it was very much in fashion. So now, let's say the kicker kicked the babies, lo'aleinu, b'chaya ger, when the ger was alive, the tate, umeisa ger, he owed him the money. It was a court case. He owed him the money, and then the ger died. The kevin the chovel b'chaya ger, since he hit her while the ger, the father, was alive, zocho behu ger, the ger really didn't get the money, but got the rights over the money. It was only a matter of collecting it, but the ger was owed the money that was in the hands of the kicker. The kevin, the mesa ger, then the ger died. Such a trauma. Somebody kicked his wife, he died. Zocho behu min ger. So now he's zocher from the ger. We all know the nichse ger is hefker. Those 2,000 shekels in the drawer of the kicker belong to the ger. The ger died. Automatically, they belong to the kicker, and the kicker is potter off the hook. That's for sure. Nobody argues on that, and that you can rest assured is fine. Aval, here comes the big question. Listen carefully, and here we get deeper a little bit. Aval, chovel bo le'achal misas hager. Let's say he smacked her after the ger died. Let's say the entire story the entire violent scene only happened after the ger died. The ger died on Tishrei, and in Cheshvan, what happened? Somebody kicked Sarah Mackenzie in the stomach. The whole thing started. Zachia la'ihi begavayu. Says Rabbi as follows. She is now the one owning the babies. In other words, listen carefully to me and then you got everything right. Rabbi says, you know why you have to pay the father, any father, for the babies? Rabbi Simkit, what you're starting to say? Because the babies belong to the father, just like this phone belongs to me. The baby belongs to the baby is a baby belongs to the father. Yeah. Now he's a ger who died. You know who holds his asset called babies? The mother. It happens to be in her womb and not in anybody else's womb. Surprise? Mimela, she became now the owner, the legal owner of the babies. Just like if I'm greedy and I go to Nichse Hager after the ger died, I belong to a WhatsApp group, Nichse Hager. Whenever a ger is dead, whenever a ger dies, they come to rummage through his property. So too, a woman who now holds in her stomach the babies who used to belong to her husband, she is now a person, Tofes Nichse Hager. She is now the balabas, the owner over them. I'm continuing the Gemara. He has to pay her personally. She became the balas abais. Those babies belong to the father. The father died and he's a girl. His family are not his family anymore. She's not Yorishim, by the way. Don't make that mistake, by the way. She doesn't Yorishim him. She doesn't inherit him because a woman, any woman, even a wife of Rosh Hashiva, never inherits her husband. But Lamaisa, physically, she's holding them. Kinyan, I don't know, Heroyon, Kinyan Chotzer. It's inside her body, Hagba. It's her in her own stomach, in her own womb. Mimela, she's Zoicher from the Hefker. She's not Valas Abayit. You kicked her, she's going to take you to court as Mrs. Mackenzie, the Almana, and she's now the owner. Now you got to pay her, says Rabba. Yes. That's one way of looking at it. There's now Rav Chisda. That's going to be an excellent way. You guys are going to learn now a beautiful chakira in the Gemara. Amar Rav Chisda. Mali Deichi. Ribono shel olam. Oy vavoy. Rav Chisda is shocked by Rabba's outlook on the whole matter. Atu vlodos tzrari ninu. Are vlodos a mere tzrari objects? Are they just objects? Bezachia behu. Do you think that the reason why the Baal gets paid is because he owns the Vlodos? If someone kicked them, just like if someone Khalila would break my phone, he'd have to pay me. Somebody broke the Vlodos, so to speak, he has to pay me because he owned them? No, that's not the way to look at the whole story of kicking the Vlodos and paying the Baal. Ella, how do you look at it? Soon you'll understand. Isay Baal, if the Baal is around when the kicking took place, the killing of the babies took place, Zochale Rachmano, the Torah gave him a matana, a gift, that he's the one who's supposed to get there, just like you have koifer that goes to the family. Yeah, I'll give you a good mashal. Hashem was talking me to think. I'll give you another example. Let's say a shul. You tell me, guys. A shul, Tam, quickly. Gores, someone, boy, not an Eved, a free Jew, gored by a shul. What does he have to pay? Tam or Muad? He gores and kills. I'm sorry. I should have said, my mistake. What do you pay? How does it called? Koifer. I like to hear some Hebrew. It's all English, but a Hebrew word here and there. What? Koifer baker. Par. The par has to pay kofer. So now, who does the koifer go to? The guy is 6 feet under, 7 feet under, 10 feet under. The guy, who do you pay to? The family. Did the family own that person? Mapita? Stam, the compensation goes to the next of kin, to whatever, yeah? Here too, it's not like the father says Rav Chisda as opposed to Rabbah. He wasn't the owner of his children, and now you have to pay him like he broke his phone. Elamai, if you kicked them and killed them while he was alive, the one you have to pay is him. He's the address to pay, but it's not his ownership. You got to pay because you're criminal. You aborted a baby. What are you, a gynecologist? You killed a baby. You got to pay for that. Who does the payment go to? It's not koifer, by the way. I'm comparing it to koifer. Who do you have to pay to? You have to pay the father. Why not the mother? Why not Beis Din? That's a good question. Very nice. But it's not like the father owned them and now the mother got them as Kilu is the second. No, it's only the father who lechatchila. If the father is around while the babies are dead, then the Torah says if he gets them. But it's not ownership that can be passed on to someone else. Says Rav Chizda, arguing in Rabbah. Continues Rav Chizda, Leisel Baal. If the Baal was Bichlal not around when the whole thing took place, when the violent kicking took place, the Baal was already dead. Loy at all. Loy. Nikuda. Not loy to her. Low. There is no payment. There's no. Why? It's a good question. Why? But that's because they're supposed to. You don't pay for an object belonging to the father, and this object is called babies, which is what Rabbah does think. Again, according to Rabbah, it's a chirech. According to Rabbah, why do you have to pay for the babies? Why do you pay the father for killing his unborn baby? Parvos, that's one side of the chakira, that's Rabbah, because they belong to him. And if they belong to him, you pay him. Who else are you going to pay? If Yechlila break my phone, who are you going to pay? Prince Abela, you'll pay me the phone. Yeah. Same thing, the babies. Zokt Rabbah, Heilige Rabbah. Zokt of Chizdama Pitam. No, it's not belonging to him and now you broke it. No. The lechatchila, only if he's around, there's a Gzeres HaKosuv that says the death compensation for killing a human being, and you're so terrible, you killed a human being, that payment that has to go somewhere only goes to the father. But if there's no father at the time of kicking, then no payment has to be given to anybody. It's not that there is a payment and the father is the address. No, the only Gzeres HaKosuv is dead babies, while the father is alive, you pay the father. It's all one long sort of punishment with a very specific criteria. That's killing the baby, paying the father. But if the father is not around at the time of kicking, nobody gets it, not even the mother who holds them in her womb. That is the outlook of Chisda. And now we're going to have a nice Sahavdil ping pong match between Rabbah and Rav Chisda to see who's right. Still question time. Yeah. Now, Meisivi, you said if a person killed him. Let's say kill. Meisivi. Question now. Let's see what the question is on. Hika is Isha b'yotzu yelodea. A man hit a woman and the children came out, meaning they died. Now it's a nezek v'tzal Isha. The actual nezek, the devaluation of the woman herself, not without being pregnant. Stam. The actual nezek, basic payment of hitting someone with tzal, the pain goes to the woman. The dmei vlodos labal. That's all very nice and classic. Yeah, the baby's worth of the actual babies goes to the husband as long as he's alive. Ein habal. The husband is not around. There is no bal, no husband around. No, it's in the yorshov. You give it to who? To the yorshim of the husband. He's a regular man, a Jewish or ger that has yorshim. They get it. Ein isha. No, it's in the yoshah. If the woman is not there, you give to the Yerushel, okay, you give to the woman. If the woman is not there to get her part, which is what? Nezek, Tal, right? You give to her Yorshim. Her Yorshim would be her children or, our brother. Now, let's say she was a Shifcha and she's now freed, which means she has exactly the same status as a Gioiris. And we assume the husband is also a Ger. Usually they marry each other. Or Gioiris. Zocho. Then what do we say? He gets it. The husband is dead, we assume. There's no husband to give it to, only she. Then what do we say? The person gets it himself. He gets it. What do you see? You see that the person gets it, the kicker gets to keep it. And we don't say gives it to the woman, to her. So that's not good. We see that's against Rabbah and pro Rav Chisda. We see that the woman is not the one who caught it, so to speak, who's koina nichsa again, she's now the current owner, because we say like Rav Chisda, it was not owned by anybody. It's only the husband and the husband only who gets it. Says the Gemara, what's your question on me? Says Rabbah. The answer is very easy. Amri, they say, why is that better than our own Mishnah? Our own Mishnah, Rabbah already prepared us, is not difficult according to him. Why? The Ukimna, we explained the Mishnah to be talking about, we qualified the Mishnah, What did we say in the Mishnah? Says Rabbah, of course there are times that the kicker gets to keep the money always. When is that? If when he kicked and killed the baby, the father was alive. Now we're not talking about babies. We're talking about cash that's in the drawer of the kicker, which is owed to the ger. The ger is dead. That of course stays with the kicker. Everyone agrees to that. So Chonami. So to be the Brisa, Shechovel b'chayager u'meisager. Same answer exactly. Let's summarize. Everyone agrees that if the father was alive, Oid Avinu Chai, the father was alive when the baby was kicked, right? At that moment, you created a debt between the kicker, now owes money, to the girl. And now if the girl dies, of course the kicker keeps it, because that's money, cash, somewhere out there in the bank account of the kicker that's owed to the girl. Ger died, stays by him. That's even according to Rabbah, and that's how he's going to interpret all the brises in the Mishnahs in the world. The only argument is what happens if you kicked after the death of the father. Oh, then Rabbah says the babies used to belong to the father, and now they belong to the mother. And Rav Chisda is shocked by the idea, and he says, "Mapitom, the babies don't belong to anybody. The baby is actually the money goes to the father if the father is alive at the time of kicking. If there's no father at the time of kicking, nothing. There's nobody to pay to. There's no case. There's no court case. Nothing happened. Again, in Shamayim, don't offer him as a shidduch to my daughter, the one who kicked. But yeah, I'm saying Lamaisa to pay. The formula of the Torah is very narrow. There's nobody to pay to. That's what Rav Chisda would say. Same machlokes as before. Or another possible answer, how Rabbah is going to read the Brisa. We are talking after the death of the ger. It says Zocha. Mapitom, he should get it. She should get it according to Rabbah. The woman says, Rabbah, don't shout at me. Daf Memtes Amud Beis. The Tani Zochto. We're not saying Zocho, the kicker. Zochto. What's the difference between Zacha and Zachta? Maybe you can teach me. Shim or her. Very good. Very good. She's the one who got it, meaning the lady, the mother holding the baby. Back. Okay. Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry for the short pause. Okay. Yeah. Tani Zochto. Okay, thank you. Tani Zochto, she's the one, Zoiche, she's the one who's actually getting the money of the babies. Says who? Says Rabbah. Leima ketanoi. Oh, Rabbah and Rav Chisda, were they Amoraim or Tanoim? Amoraim. Very good. Yeah. Amoraim. Now we're trying to say that maybe Machlokes Rabbah and Rav Chisda both Amoraim. Rav Chisda was the Shver of Rove, by the way. Rav Chisda was the father-in-law of Rove, who was the Talmud of Rabbah. Everyone same generation, everyone from the same group, yeah. So then, now the question is, Rabbah and Rav Chisda, maybe their machlokes is machlokes Tanoim. We're not trying to allege and connect their machlokes Tanoim. Is that good for Rabbah and Rav Chisda if the machlokes be Tanoim? Yeah. Would they go home and say, yeah, we're machlokes Tanoim or no? Not. Very good. I know you know. If it's for the viewers online. It's not good for Meroim, because why are you reinventing the wheel? If it's a first machlokes Tanoim, Rabbah and Rav Chisda don't have to rehash something that's already been said and make it sound as if it's a whole new exciting machlokes, right? So Lema Ketanoi is not an attack, but a subtle attack on Meroim. Lema Ketanoi, let us say machlokes Rabbah and Rav Chisda is machlokes Tanoim. Look at the following brisa: Bas Yisrael shenises lager. A nice Jewish girl married the ger. That's very nice. That's not a problem. That's very good. She's now pregnant from the ger. Some vicious idiot, he kicked her while the ger was alive, her husband, yeah. So far, so good. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a nice, good story. You're asking what's the chiddush, okay? Now, the chiddush is as long as the ger is alive. Oh, here comes trouble. Let's say she was an almona from the ger, and then he kicked her in the tummy and killed the babies. Then tani chad chayev, tani chad potu. That's nice. One brisa, one tana of the brisa says chayev to pay her because she's the current owner of the babies, and that follows the opinion of Rabbah, of course. Tani chad potu. Another tana says potu. There's nobody to pay to. No father in the story, then no, that's it. The formula is only paying the father while he's there, while kicking. Nobody to pay to. It's not an object that's been inherited or koine. So potu, my love, tanoi, ninhu. So that sounds machlokes tanoim. Rabbah is like one tana. Rav Chisda is like the tana. It says potu. There's no claimant, no plaintiff. She's not a part of the story, not even after death, according to Rav Chisda. So maybe it's machlokes tanoim. Answers the Gemara like this: LeRabba v'dai tanoihi. According to Rabba, soon you'll understand why. According to Rabba, Rabba must say that he's only following the opinion of one Tana. Rabba would say, yes, I follow the opinion of the one who says chayev. In the Tana that says potur, I don't follow him, and that's okay for an Amora. That is of itself is legitimate. Rabbi can say, I follow the opinion of one Tana. Which Tana? The one who says that you're chayev, you got to pay the woman. She's now the owner. Elal Rav Chizda, according to Rav Chizda, gets tricky. Elal Rav Chizda, milei matanoihi. According to Rav Chizda, are we forced to say that this is machlokes tanoim, and now he would follow the lenient opinion that says that the kicker doesn't pay because the wife, the almona, is not the owner, and then we'll be stuck because Rabbi is the one Tana and Rav Chizda another Tana? And says the Gemara, no, lo kasha, Baruch Hashem, lo kasha. Ha Rabbanan ha Reb Shimon Gamliel, voila. You forgot about Reb Shimon Gamliel. Da, 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 da. Here it comes. Reb Shimon Gamliel from the beginning of the shir. What did Reb Shimon Gamliel say? He said that when you have shvach vlodos, not dmei vlodos, the issue here is shvach vlodos. The ger died, right? The shvach, the dmei vlodos go to the husband only. That's no argument as long as he's alive. When he was alive, but the shvach vlodos, her being worth more as a pregnant woman, and now when he kicked her, she was worth less, according to Rashbag. That's also true from the second birth onwards. According to Rabbanan, who gets that? Only the husband. The how do you say shvach? The not evaluation. The extra, the added value. The added value goes only to the husband for Rabbanan, and for Rashbag, it's being equally split between them. That's what the Rashbag is saying. The one who says potu is telling me that really is potu. Sorry, the one who says chayev is Rashbag. Rashbag says you still have to pay her. She's an almona. So what if she's an almona? You owe her regardless. You owe her part of the shvach, or maybe even more. We'll see later. According to Rabbanan, you're potur because vlodos, he's not around. And shvach, what about the shvach? The shvach goes only to the husband. No husband, nobody to pay to. That's a machlokes. But really, that case of dmei vlodos after death, that was never discussed in the Brisa. We elegantly managed to run out of it. Again, our question was, if the case of the Brisa is he kicked the woman after the husband's death, that was a major machlokes Rabbi and Chizda. Now we're like at the last moment, like careening through. We say no, that Brisa is not talking about that. That Brisa talks about the shvach vlodos. Her value as being extra value as pregnant. That's a whole different discussion, and that's a machlokes. Lefi Rabbanon, there is nobody to pay to. The husband is dead. It is not moirish his rights to her, so he keeps it. According to Rashbag, no. The lady knocks on his door and she said, it's equal rights. I'm egalitarian. Rashbag, I deserve at least half the vlodos, right? Not the vlodos, the shvach vlodos, the shvach vlodos. The shvach of my pregnancy is half mine. He may not pay me. And we're not talking about dmei vlodos after his death. Shvach vlodos after he died. And that's not the issue of Abba Chavista. So it's okay. They're not touching the Brice's sensitive part, so to speak. Irashbag, but now it's okay, that sounds nice, but if so, my area le'achar misa. If that's the issue of getting half of the shvach pregnancy or only his, why are you talking about after death? Afilu mechaim nami, right? Mechaim nami is like palga? Question mark. For mechaim, she also has half. If that's machlokes chachomim and Rashbag, which is repeated in the Brisa, so that's nice and legitimate. Why are you talking that he died? Even if both the husband and the wife are alive and kicking and go to the gym every day, still, ma'akesher, still. And there was a very tragic scene of her being kicked. By the way, there can be gerim, there can be daughters of Rosh Hashiva, there can be anything. The same story goes throughout the board, dead, live, kicking or not. The same machlokes would be. Rashbag would say she gets half of that shvach pregnancy, and Chachomim say he gets everything, the husband. So we're portraying a case here of after death. Answers the Gemara. Mechaim isla palga. When she was alive and he's alive and everybody's alive, when he was alive, I mean, she gets half and he gets half. Le'achar misa kule. Wow. Le'achar misa, after the husband died, even though he's a ger, that's a chiddush, and she doesn't inherit him, and no woman inherits her husband naturally, still she gets the entire shvach. Because the shvach is her body, the shvach is really part of her body. She looks better, fatter, stronger, whatever you want to call it. In the past, fat women were considered better, by the way, nicer. So then, le'achar misa, she automatically gets the entire shvach. And that's why we portrayed the case to take it to the extreme. Let's review. There is a brisa here that talks about what happens after the death of the ger, and then she was kicked. We're not talking about the Dmei Vlodos. That's not the issue. The Dmei Vlodos remain a mysterious machlokas Rabbi and Rav Chizda, untouched by the brisa. So Rabbi and Rav Chizda can breathe freely, sigh of relief. What is the brisa talking about then? The brisa is telling me chidushim, not stories, a big chiddush. Talk the brisa, what happens to the shvach vlodos, not the Dmei Vlodos? Her value being pregnant, which should go to who? Well, depends who you ask. One Tana is Chachomim said only goes to the husband. Once the husband is dead, nobody to pay to. I know that you're the one who's pregnant and fat and looking so good because you're fat and pregnant and everybody would buy you. Very nice. But it goes to the husband. Say Chachomim, Horo, only the husband gets it. But Rav Shimon Gamliel says no. After the death, not only it should have been half-half when he was alive, after his death, she's the only sole owner of the entire shevach, because automatically when he's not around and she's the one who's physically meshubachas, she gets the entire shevach. And that's the machlokas Rashbag and Rabbanan, nothing to do with our story of hitting after death of the husband and who's getting it. That's not the issue of the brisa. Baruch Hashem. At least there's such a tzad. The boy sema, or another very easy alternative to explain the two brises, the two tanoim in the brisa. Both the one who says chayev and the one who says poto or rashbag. And we're talking about shvach vlodois, the pregnancy value, the extra value of pregnancy. Kan b'shvach vlodois, kan b'dmei vlodois. Very easy. B'shvach vlodois, we say what? If it's shvach vlodois, what does rashbag say? Rashbag says shvach vlodois, it goes completely to her, right? And it is really la'achar misa, it goes all to her. Kan b'dmei vlodois, it's dmei vlodois and it doesn't go to her. But we're not talking about this machloikis. We're talking about dmei vlodois when while the husband was alive, the kicking took place while the husband was alive, and real money was owed to Mr. Mackenzie. L'kula alma, no question that it stays by the kicker, because money owed to a ger for sure stays by the one owed, by the balchoy, right? What about shvach vlodos? No, mister. Shvach vlodos, regardless of the husband, no, not regardless, because the husband died, her half of shvach vlodos, of being pregnant, became fully hers, inflated, so to speak, became fully hers. She'll knock on your door, mister, and say, well, I would say, I don't care if my husband is dead or alive. Hopefully she's sad about it. But regardless of my husband's life or death, you got to pay shvach vlodos, mister, to me. Yeah, because you owe it to me now. I'm a gioris, so what? Give it to me, the shvach vlodos. The dmei vlodos go zero because it's been already being owed to the ger before he died. That. Excuse me? Here, obviously, shvach or pregnancy is only by women. There's no such thing by men. I know that some men look pregnant. I can't say online. But not. No, we're talking. There is shvach, of course, by men also. Let's say men is a certain situation and now he's mashbiach more or less. Yeah, but here the shvach doesn't apply to men. The shvach is her being pregnant. No. Being a boy or girl affects the dmei vlodos, not shvach vlodos. It's a good question, Yitzchok. I just want to change one word in your question. And this is recorded. This is very choshuv. I assume, yeah, we live in a world where Yitzchok is asking a question. Let's say we see in the ultrasound that it's a boy, or we see it's a girl. And the day after the ultrasound, she was kicked in the stomach, yeah? I assume that mistoma, people prefer male to work in the field more than a female. You can argue otherwise. Okay, I'm sorry, it sounds so male chauvinistic. Lamaisa, you could say maybe you evaluate it in the market. If people prefer male as an oived, as an eved, that would be worth more. If people prefer female to do female kind of jobs, but that only has to do with dmei vlodos. Shvach vlodos is her looking pregnant, being pregnant and looking stout and fat and more able, so to speak, that is of itself has nothing to do with boy or girl. It has to do with how fat and nefach she looks like. It's nothing to do with the gender of the baby. That's one good example of the difference between Dmei Vlodos and Shvach Vlodos. Right now, we're talking about both. Okay? Hmm? Now, quick. Okay, we have a question now. Two more lines. Please. 4 more lines. Frag the Gemara. Yeah, Amri, there's a question. Mishvach Vlodos lishma Dmei Vlodos. From what he says about Shvach Vlodos, maybe we'll derive from that about Dmei Vlodos also. Just like he said about Shvach Vlodos, we're now attacking Rav Chizda. If by Shvach Vlodos, we say that she's now the owner of the Shvach. The truth is, the question of the Gemara, I already gave you the answer. I hinted to the answer. So it'll be very easy for you to get the answer. What did we say about Dmei Vlodos? And what did we say about Shvach Vlodos? The man died. Shvach Vlodos, she gets the whole thing. So we say, if so, maybe Dmei Vlodos should be the same. Maybe we would say, it was his babies. Now she's holding it in her stomach. So maybe we'll say she's getting the Dmei Vlodos, like Rabbi against Rav Chizda. And with the Rashbag, Lishma Rabbanon, from Rashbag who talks about Shvach, we learn for Rabbanon about Vlodos. And then we'll have a very dangerous formula for Rav Chizda, saying what? Just like the woman after his death becomes the big balabos that owns everything by Shvach, maybe she'll own everything by Vlodos, like Rabbi against Rav Chizda. Says the Gemara, no, as I already told you, Amri lo. Shvach Vlodos the Shaycha Yoda Begavayu, Zachibu Bekulu. Shvach Vlodos, she's Shaycha Yoda Begavayu. Her hand, her body, her own self, her entity has shaykhs right from the beginning. Why? Even when they were alive, both of them, she owned half, and it's her real body, and she owned half. That expands and extends, and she becomes now the full owner. Dmei Vlodos, the lo shaycha de begavayu, but the Dmei Vlodos, as we said through and through, the actual babies themselves, she has zero ownership. That Rav Chizda will stick to his guns and would say no. She's not getting anything of the Dmei Vlodos after his death because they're not an object belonging to him that he now she's holding. No. The Shvach, she always had a part, and that part from 50% extends to 100%. But the Dmei Vlodos were not even his. They would only be his if he was alive and they were kicked. I mean, mainly nobody's the owner now. Neither him, who is miscan dead, and her, no shaykhs. It's not an object to be inherited and be bought by her. Email, there's no shaykhs, and that's our Rav Chizda sticks to his guns. I don't know how halacha is like. Good question. I'm going to look up today, Blinedo, the halacha on a few questions here, and hopefully we'll let you know tomorrow. Thank you very much. Questions and comments are welcome, and we are finishing the shir now.